You're watching Fuck You. Real talk, real laughs, real fun. Here we go. Today, the category is depression and speaking out. And we have a very special guest. This is Pewa de la Rosa, a Laia native. Pewa, do you want to just start off in sharing kind of your story from the beginning, like how you knew, or what kind of what your feelings were leading up to being diagnosed with?
Yeah, for sure. So, I officially wasn't diagnosed until about 2 summers ago. Um, but in hindsight, looking back, I now looking back, see the symptoms, or I saw the symptoms, as early as, oh gosh, maybe my intermediate years in school. Um, Things like being, distant from people, wanting to stay in my room, mood swings. Um, yeah, so it wasn't until, like I said, 2 summers ago um, and forgive me, but this is why I cannot stand the Hooky show, is because that pretty much triggered and brought up, it pretty much triggered everything. Um, and I know you were a witness to that, you know,
Yeah.
um, and so it was just during that time, with work, I was being overwhelmed with so many responsibilities. And then just during that week, it just kind of all came to a crash where, I had a breakdown. And so, um, yeah, it wasn't until maybe a month after that had happened, um, that the doctor had, um, I guess, officially diagnosed me as having depression. But even for a lot of people that suffer with that, there's always something else that comes with it. So there's some people have like depression and PTSD, like post-traumatic stress syndrome or disorder rather. With mine, and this is pretty common, I think, um, it was I had depression and anxiety. So everything leading up to um, what I now know, because I've never experienced anything like it before. Um, like having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, so things like that. Yeah, it kind of all came down all at once.
So, like, some of the questions I had on depression was because I feel like we all kind of get depressed sometimes,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between like just having moments of being depressed
hmm
versus having depression. So is that kind of like, were you just always constantly feeling depressed, or was it kind of like just those windows of depression and then it would go away when things get
Yeah.
better?
So again, looking back, I would have windows of which I didn't know it was depression. I just thought I was, being overdramatic and being sad all the time. But I definitely saw patterns of depression, leading up to when I was diagnosed. And even after that, the diagnosis, I fell in, like, I went into a deep depression. Yeah, I couldn't even work. I was in bed all day. Um, and, those are the people that were backstage, they noticed I wasn't at work. Um,
What was your thoughts or feelings kind of going leading up to being diagnosed? Like, were you did you think that you already had depression, or were you just kind of just confused and you just needed to get answers to why you were feeling such ways?
yeah, so I was, above anything else, I was really confused because I was having the panic attacks so regularly. Once they started, in fact, my first one was the night before Hookie opened. And again, this is why it was so hard for me to enjoy Hookie because that triggered everything. Anyways, but yeah, so after that had happened, I was really adamant in finding out what was causing it. Um, because honestly, I thought I was having a heart attack, and I didn't want to experience it again because I was that scared. I had gone to the ER. They had done all these tests saying, I was cleared, nothing's wrong with my heart.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then later on, maybe a few weeks after that first initial attack, it happened almost every day to where I went to the ER about 4 times during the week.
Dang.
Um, and so I was really, again, adamant in finding out what was really wrong. Um, so I did my own kind of research, reading up on it, calling people who I thought could help me with what I thought I was experiencing. The first person actually I really contacted was Eleni Tolutau. I don't know her married
Um,
name now, but because I knew of her struggle with depression. So I had just built up a kind of like a some questions that I had, and we spent a good time on the phone talking about it, and that's when I was kind of piecing things together,
I'm trying to
um,
think.
trying to figure it out. And then when I went to see my doctor, as we were speaking, she kind of did an analysis of things, and then that's when, yeah, things. It was this, she told me, what, you have depression, and all of these things that are happening, that's anxiety and panic attacks. So I mean, in a sense, I was really relieved to finally find out what it was. But I knew then, when she had told me what it was, I knew then that's when the work really needed to be done.
Like after finding out that you had depression, was it scary for you to come to that realization, or was it more of a relief and now you just needed more answers in how to handle
It was a
that?
little bit of, yeah, it was a little bit of both. Because, like I said, I was really relieved that I finally knew what was going on. Because from there, I knew I could find support and help to kind of tackle it. But at the same time, I was really scared, um, because a few years back in La Ie, how there were so many people killing themselves. I mean, not
Yeah.
even just in La Ie, but within the Polynesian community. So my ultimate fear was getting to a point where I would be in that state. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to
Yeah.
get to that point.
So for all of you who don't know, this is Peva's actually like first time really speaking out openly
Yeah,
to this big of a crowd about his experience. Um, but I know that you stated to me before that speaking out has actually helped you in your healing process, and
yeah,
I just wanted to ask because I know a lot of people may be ashamed to speak out because
yeah,
a lot of people pair depression with being weak, not being mentally strong. And so,
yeah,
was that kind of a fear for you at first to speak out about your
yeah.
experiences?
That's totally what it was. Um, I didn't speak on it for, like even when I was trying to come back to work, I would come in for maybe an hour or 2 hours a day. And people would always ask me, hey, what's wrong? Like, what happened? Rather than trying to find the words to really explain how I was really feeling, I would always just say, like, oh, I was just sick, oh, I had the flu. Um, yeah. And so it was really challenging, even within my own extended family, because my immediate family, I felt like they were aware of what was happening, even though I wasn't saying anything. Um, Really, it was just really between my mom, myself, and my older cousin Clint, that really kind of knew what was really going on with me at the time. Because even growing up, I've experienced it with my grandma, my dad. You say something's wrong, they're just like, just be happy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah. So I guess,
there's no
So I guess
such
that's
thing
kind of,
as
yeah.
there's no such
And I
thing
think
as
that's,
Stop being sad. Too bad. Fix it.
Uh-huh.
Smile. You know what I mean? I really had a set picture as to what depression was. And to me, I didn't fit that picture. I guess I understand now that it does not discriminate. Like
Uh-huh.
depression can affect everybody, regardless.
Is there anything of your journey that you want to share before we go into question and answers?
Yeah, if don't be afraid. I guess what I've kind of learned is even if you're struggling just a little bit, ask for help.